Hi everyone, hope you're doing well from wherever you're watching this channel, depending on your time zone. Now, there has been a lot of speculation that Raila Odinga and William Samoei Ruto, the president, might be working together in 2027, especially after the signing of a document that brought in some arrangement between ODM and UDA in what they're referring to as broad-based government. But mark you, from the word go, when the document was signed, already John Mbadi, Opiyo and I, and Joho were in this cabinet nominated, and already they had gone through the vetting in the parliament, and vetting approved, they had sworn in and taken to their offices, and they were already serving in various ministries. So agreement just came later. Now with these speculations, Edwin Sifuna, who is also Nairobi Senator and doubles in as the ODM Secretary General, was on Citizen TV together with other panelists, including Kisumu Senator Tom Ojenda. And the discussion was about this issue of broad-based. The other panelists were like, oh, we are in this broad-based and we are working together. We are in a coalition. But Sifuna was of different views. And there is something Sifuna is trying to clear here. As far as the question about ODM fielding a presidential candidate or supporting William Ruto, in his view, now I speak for the party as SG. This is what he's saying, that ODM exists to fight for political power. Power inaanzia kwa MCA mpaka kwa president uko juu. And therefore, for that matter, ODM is still intended. They are still in the field to make Ruto, now listen to this, one-term president. Not to make Ruto two-term president. Not to make Ruto to get the second term, but to make him a one-term president. It confirms that ODM will be challenging William Ruto on ballot through their presidential candidate in 2027. That is Edwin Sifuna.
Now, secondly, Trevor, I can forgive Salasia for refusing to read this document and assuming Sifuna signed it. But I cannot forgive Professor Ojenda. Because, Professor, you are a lawyer. When you see people running away from a document, and that's the reason I have brought this thing here, because there's been a lot of nonsense being said about the contents of this document. Luckily for us, all of us here, we are lawyers. They know about the parole evidence rule, that once the contents of an agreement have been reduced into a document, you do not introduce oral evidence to explain its contents, because the document will speak for itself. The people who are supporters of this animal called broad-based are running away from the contents of the document. That is why the president gets annoyed with me when I remind him what the document says. So when you see Ojenda coming and telling us, oh, there is the document, then there's a philosophy. Read the document. This document is not what brought the former chairperson of ODM into government. As I've said, Trevor, that so-called broad-based animal started existing in Ruto's mind before this document was signed. This document was signed on 7th of February 2025. By that time, Mbadi, Joho, and the others were already in cabinet. This document is not the reason why they are there. And if you want to understand the discussions that went prior, the philosophy is captured here, Ojenda, that we understand that a nation will not develop without reinforcing democratic governance and the rule of law. And I wish, Trevor, you brought to me on this issue alone, so that I can explain to you the contents of this document, so that people like Ojenda don't introduce things that are not there. You are a professor of law. Please don't behave like Salasia. Read the document so that you understand and explain to your people what it says. To your question, Trevor, ODM, we have said repeatedly, including as recently as when we were in Mombasa for an event there with Honorable Raila Odinga, that ODM exists to fight for political power in these democratic processes. We still intend, we have not given up our quest to lead this country. So we will be in the field to face whoever it is else will be there, including President William Ruto. And the natural consequence of that is we will make him a one-term president, because we want to grab that power from him so that we can do the things that we are saying we believe in. That is my straight answer. And it doesn't matter how cleverly you people frame this question. My views are never going to change, Trevor, because I still continue to receive feedback that even with this so-called,
call it broad-based. There is no harm. Call it broad-based.
This so-called development tours. He is still facing a lot of resistance. Tom Ojenda, my brother, let us focus on software issues as well. You know, I was explaining to Oburu, because he said, which other rights do you want, you people? If you have gotten roads, if you have got... That's not all it is about. You know, there are software issues in this country. I have said here that we want a democratic state, and which is what this document says. Unaona, Trevor, these people don't want to read this document, or they don't want me.
But I've read it.
A nation will not develop without reinforcing democratic governance and the rule of law. My brother, democratic governance is such that you cannot go after the BBC for just telling you that this is what happened. Why are you arresting young people for producing a film about events that we all saw? Okay. I was there in Parliament. Those things happened. The BBC is not fabricating anything. And in fact, all your media houses, including Citizen TV, covered these events. So why are you arresting people for just expressing themselves? That is running contrary to this document.
Okay. So you're confirming that ODM will field a presidential candidate?
I am saying this political party called ODM exists for only one sole purpose. We are not like Third Way Alliance, which exists to go to court. We exist to compete for political power. So ODM has not given that up. In 2027, we will field candidates for all positions.
Now, Sifuna was asked severally about the issue of fielding a presidential candidate, because that's then what they were interested so much in. Because when you say that political parties exist to fight for political power, yes, you fight for that, but it means you can field other candidates, including governors. Alafu mnakubaliana pale, but when it comes to presidential, maybe you are in a coalition, mnaachia mmoja wenu. But he has said it different. He has been very categorical to make someone a one-term. Now, Sifuna has gone further to make it publicly clear, to confirm as an individual, Sifuna will not be voting for one William Samoei Ruto in 2027. That is his position. Hata pigia Ruto kura.
Lastly, a vote is an individual decision. Tom Ojenda will not vote for Sifuna. I will be given a ballot, you will be given a ballot. You can see he's already wearing UDA colors. He's already wearing UDA colors. So he has made a decision that is going to support William Ruto for re-election. I do not begrudge you, Ojenda. That is your personal decision. Sifuna Edwin Watenya. I can give my ID number. Should I? Will not be voting for William Ruto in 2027. He should also respect my decision. Thank you.
All right.
Now, what does this all mean when we have ODM, half of it with William Ruto, when we listen to statements from Opiyo Wandayi, John Badi, then the statement from Edwin Sifuna? What does that one mean? Where are we heading to? Where is ODM heading to? What is their position? And what about William Ruto? How will he go about it in this next political dispensation ahead of 2027 general election? Those are the questions that we want to try and answer. But before we go deep into that, just a quick request for those who are watching the channel and you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. To our returning subscribers, I must say thank you so much. And again, to all our viewers, please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and back to our discussion. Now, there's a lot of issues here. ODM might be in a move to confuse either William Ruto or Kenyans. or even both for that matter. Then again, the personal interest at the level of an individual, at an individual level of one, Edwin Sifuna. Na nataka nianza na hiyo. Edwin Sifuna is vying for Nairobi senatorial position in the next general election. This for the second term. Look at Nairobi. Now, the Nairobi governor, Johnson Sakaja, is a lawyer. Hapa Kakamega. Sifuna, the senator, is a lawyer. Hapa Bungoma. Then, in the previous election, Sifuna was on the Azimio side, which was just correct. In that arrangement, wewe senator, mwingine governor kule Polycarp Igathe, woman rep kule pia. Then huku kina kwingine huku kwa na Edwin Sifuna, Johnson Sakaja, governor, Margaret Wanjiru, senator, kwa na woman rep wao. Millicent. So, both sides kuna kile walipata. Sifuna akapata kule, Sakaja akapata kule. Alafu akipatana hapa katikati waluya wawili. Now tell me this new political dispensation. Itakuwaje unasema Sifuna senator, Sakaja governor na wote ni waluya kwa coalition moja. Alafu bado kuna swali pale. So he might be fighting for his interest that at the right time akishawasukuma sana, then they can let him have that chance. Or pia atoka aende kwingine. Or with the ODM side, they might be confusing William Ruto. Hawa wanasema tuko na wewe, hawa wanasema hatuko na wewe. Kama Ruto bado anafikiria hapa katikati, ikifika kule mbele wanaruka, and they can just decide to have a presidential candidate. Akina Kalonzo wakiwa na hao, ODM wakiwa na yao, Ruto akiwa na yake. Hakuna clear winner. Kutakuwa na round 2 where they can gang with the Gachagua Kalonzo side and take over power from William Ruto. Sababu Gachagua kurudi kwa Ruto itakuwa si rahisi sana. Or they might be confusing both Kenyans and William Ruto. Ama pia wanaweza kuwa na confuse Kenyans. Tuko na nyinyi wananchi wengine wanasema huko, alafu mkifikiria wako hapa katikati mnasikia wameruka au kwa Ruto. Very many things, but this is dangerous for both Kenyans and even William Ruto himself. So pahali penye ODM imefika, huyu anasema hii, huyu anasema hii. And even it also put it in a very dangerous situation. Though for politics as of now, it's not yet clear. Watu wanacheza chini ya maji, bado wanajipanga. At the very right time, itakuja kwa meza, then we will know this is now the direction these people are taking. I don't know your views, but please let us meet in the comment section to continue with this discussion. Thank you so much, and see you in our next video.